Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Board of Trustees business meeting.
Oh, I agree.
Today is Tuesday, January 29th. We had a earlier executive session this evening, and at this time the board has nothing to report on that executive session. So we'll be moving on to item number 3, which is board review and approve of the minutes of the November 27th meeting. Everyone should have received these in the Dropbox. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at these?
Yeah.
And if so, do we have any corrections to what was presented? They were pretty short. Short and sweet. So,
Move to accept the minutes as presented.
so you have a motion to move and accept them as presented. Need a second, please?
Right here.
Dan, thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Duffy, if I may.
Yes.
Can you sign that copy and leave it with me, please, Dan? Thank you.
This one right here?
That one right there, yes. It's been revised. It's the stapled one, yes.
Item number 4, to review the November 2018 financials. Mr. Rancourt.
I have 2 comments for November.
Here you go.
Sales were up,
Thank you.
so revenue is up. And we were over a little bit in expenses due to the timing of paying for the tree trimming. So they went most of the year without billing us, and then they caught up with a couple billings towards the end of the year. So we're looking, I think, decent in terms of cash, and also I think we're in good shape year to date against what our budget is on the bottom line.
Hey, Matt. What happened to December? This is November's, right?
Thanks. Yeah, so we don't, the December financials are presented by our auditors.
Okay.
When they do the report. So
That the power expense that's up more than the revenue, is that because of our line loss or?
yeah, it is.
Does anyone have any questions on the financial before we get into the other parts of it? Delinquent accounts seem to be maintaining.
Yeah, we were quite a bit better than last year, and Todd has a subject to talk about in his GM's report that I think will have a pretty positive effect on the outstanding debts that we have here from the customers.
And our cash is increasing nicely.
It is.
Where do you, what's the timeline do you feel before we're where we want to be?
Well, that depends on.
Because looking at your graph here, we're going at a good.
Yeah, so what I talked with Todd about last week was kind of the concept of getting to it in an unsustainable way. So stockpiling all this cash without doing some of the capital projects that we need, and then having a roller coaster as our days go back down and we come back up. So what we've decided on, part of our strategy is last week we transferred $150,000 more into our capital account, raising it up to $400,000, and that's the strategy that we would like to follow, so that when we do pay for these capital projects, we don't kind of have a nosedive. So I don't have a good answer for you tonight, because it does depend on what we spend for capital projects.
Good question.
Yeah.
On our bond rating, how are we doing on our financial rating?
Well, our financials, particularly on the balance sheet, look a lot better at year end than they did last year. Now, there are audit adjustments that have to happen, but they don't affect actual cash. So we haven't had a re-review of our bonding, I think.
When might we have a credit review on that?
Well, they put us on to an annual review because of the rating.
Okay.
So I think it's March or April
Alright.
when it happens again, you know.
One other thing in response to that question, Jay, that I think is very important, and they're going to recognize very quickly, is the board's ability to respond to rate fluctuations and the ability and the attention the board's been paying to the rates to be able to build those stockpiles. That was one of the comments in the past that, you know, it had been so long since it was a delivery increase. So that'll make a difference as well.
Okay, thank you.
You will.
Anyone else have any questions? Scott, you good? Okay.
Doing something right, Matt. Hardly any questions.
Oh,
That's good.
all right. Item number 5, to authorize the general manager to offer truck number 2 for sale. Truck number 2 is a 2002 spare bucket truck with a minimum bid of $10,000. We had put this out at our last meeting.
No
We had
lights.
asked for a $30,000 minimum, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And you had no bites.
No lights.
No bites at 30,000.
No.
So why are we going from
So why are
30
we
to
going
10?
down to 10,000? I mean, this is a,
Question.
Well, I think I know what the market value of the truck is. We could go to 15. I think we'll probably, now that everybody in the world's watching this, we'll land somewhere around 15 to 18,000 is what that truck is worth. The reason we set 30,000 is because we had that unsolicited offer and he backed out because he bought a truck, allegedly. And so I think 15 to 18 is a really good price for that truck, looking at the market and what's out there. We
how
could-
much is a new one?
a new one of that caliber, Matt, would
Yeah,
be.
so-
The diesel?
Yeah, we just had to
51,000
redo the our insurance, so I think it was 235 or 240. Brand
240.
brand new.
Yeah.
Quarter of a million.
But I know with the years, and it's been no,
It's a nice
what
truck.
gets me is, yeah, I mean, it's only 7,100 hours on it.
I put 10,000 because I don't want to do 20 and come back to you again and have to do this for a third month in a row.
Will there be a competitive bid, do you think?
I think at 15 there would be. So, like I said, I just don't want to eat crow again and come back and say we didn't sell the truck.
What a,
Is there a seasonal valuing here? Maybe when the warm weather comes back, it might be worth more?
Well, seasonality works both ways because some guys are looking for these kind of trucks for storm work.
All right, okay. Just a question.
so you think we should put it out for 15,000?
I'm good.
Where are you getting the 18,000?
Commercial Truck Trader is a website that sells a lot of these vehicles used, and that's
How are we
where
I
putting
think
this
it-
out there?
Like this, 24,000, which is
Craigslist, Maine Municipal, our website, and then local people that do this work also get a mailing or a phone call to let them know it's out.
And when you put it on Craigslist, are you putting it out?
Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Western Massachusetts, and Worcester area. So when we sold the tree truck and we got all that money, that's where the guy found it, was Craigslist in Western Mass. So I've had, in my 11 years doing public administration, I've had really good luck on Craigslist because you gotta pay these other sites and it's, you know,
Right. No, I'm fine with Craigslist. I just know you can put it in as different districts and
Yeah.
different areas. So
I've been sticking to New England.
yeah, I would think Massachusetts would be the market.
That's where the money is.
Right.
Does MEPA have a bulletin board on this?
do they have,
Not a very good one.
do they have other trucks like this on Craigslist with a price?
There are, this one's kind of unique because it's got really low mileage on it and it's
Yes.
really good shape. So, you know, you see trucks like this between 10 and 15,000 being sold, or I should say,
Yeah.
I see them on there and then
And
they're
they
not
probably got
there
over
anymore, so they
100,000
probably
miles,
got
right?
sold.
Why don't we just keep it?
We don't use it. It just sits there. Takes up room in the garage
I mean, yeah.
that we could use for other things, tools and equipment that can go into that.
What do we spend a year on?
Insurance is
Insurance, what it
probably
is.
minimal.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but you know, our staffing footprint it doesn't support this many.
But
this
it
many
is something that
trucks.
we have, that this is gonna last another 15, 20 years.
Yeah, the cost
Like
is
this.
insurance, and yearly we have it dielectrically tested to make sure it.
Testing,
Right.
yeah.
Did you use it at all putting it in Summer Street?
No, they did not.
No.
Christmas lights?
Nope. Thanks, Jay.
Why do we
No.
do Christmas lights?
What?
Why are we doing that?
Well, there'll be a discussion for a future meeting.
Okay.
It's part of who we are.
I can school you on
I-
that.
Part of being
Keep it
part
on
of
the
the
list.
community.
Yes.
Oh, boy. I mean, I'd like to move to accept the general manager's recommendation and see what happens. It's not a final bid, it's a minimum bid. Get the job done.
And there's no way we can use this truck.
Can we go with a minimum bid of 15,000?
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Blocks or something?
We can put it up on
Need it?
blocks and,
Got
you
it.
know, in 50 years, it'll be an antique from the district.
I'm used
Okay,
to-
so we have a motion on the,
Just accept the proposal, provided we call for a minimum bid of 15,000.
and yeah, Scott seconded it. All those in favor? Item 6 is the board to authorize the general manager to accept and award the bids regarding the agenda item 5 at the bid opening and award it on noon on February 22nd. We did this with the last one.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Item 7, board consideration of approval of list of legacy on 2018 write-offs. You're giving us less and less information.
We don't, Matt, he's looking at you.
Well, let me.
Open for less questions.
The financials are getting much better,
These
so.
account numbers mean nothing to me.
Right. They, as
Yeah, so I mean, it's your choice how much utility having names attached to these are. I will say, if I could offer an opinion, renting or owning, that doesn't have any value to me. I know we would call that out in the past. But of course, we can't we can't pick or choose renting or owning customers.
Didn't we at one time vote to publish this list so that to kind of shame people into paying?
I'm gonna have to look back.
Yeah.
Can
I wanna
you publish
say-
your name
Not
with it?
recently we
We
have.
talked about it.
So you can't tell me who account number
Yeah,
1650653
I can.
Yeah, we could tell you who they all are.
I want to say we went, and this, I don't know if you were here yet or if it was at the end of Sharon, but I know when Wayne was on the board and myself and Jay,
Yeah,
we had a conversation about
publishing.
this list just like
Yeah.
the town publishes the list of people who don't pay their taxes.
All right, I'll look into that.
Publishing this list of people who don't pay because all the other ratepayers are the ones that are paying for these folks who.
So this would go in the town booklet?
It would go on our website saying, here, that's what the towns do, they stick it on their website and say, these are the people that
You
didn't
think
pay.
that's an effective way?
But not in their
Who,
booklet?
who owns $13,395.78?
Stone Ridge Farm.
Same one that's owned it for us forever.
And I'll add to that once you're done questioning Matt.
Yeah, so can we publish these with their names?
We can.
Yes, we can.
But are you saying you know we can, or you have to
I
check?
know we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's public information. Anyone can request
It
this.
should be on our website.
So let's let Matt speak.
I'm advocating for not putting their names out there. And okay, being on a point of view on it, but some of these people, they didn't pay legitimately because they couldn't pay.
Yeah, or, can we do it for, say, above a certain amount, we're gonna publish it?
You have a lot, I think you could do anything you.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
You know,
So, Matt, you're saying that, and I understand where you're at with,
Yeah, I agree too.
with the people that just can't afford to pay. But are they still ratepayers? Or have they just run?
that's a good question. Not, obviously, not all of these people are current customers. As a matter of fact, none of them would be, because we're allowed to reconstitute their balance if they come back in to be a customer within six years. So that's what we do. If you've left us with a balance that we've had to write off, when you come back, we charge you for that and collect it from you.
Right.
So these are people that are gone.
Right, they're gone.
Yeah, except, I'm sorry, except for the two larger amounts.
Who they're still on our,
That's still a customer,
right.
yes.
So, these folks have just left their debt behind, they've moved on to somewhere else. They're not in our district anymore, but they're probably in CMP's district or someone else's district.
Or they're here just in another residence with another,
Someone else's
person's
name
name.
is on the bill instead of their name,
yep,
because they're trying to avoid the payment of what they owe.
yeah, yeah. So they do differ, I would say, significantly to a property taxpayer who is still in that house but might owe the town. So these people may never reap the benefit of having their name on the website.
To be clear though, some of them may very well be living here and using our power. They may just have someone else in their household signed up for the power.
Right, and we would not be able to discern that.
I understand.
And we push the issue with the PUC until they tell us. Reminder, the rule says you can't dictate who's living in that house. So there's situations where we know that's exactly the case, but
Yeah, we
the
can't do
laws
anything.
are so,
So 2065678-01 owes us a penny.
yeah.
That's just, I mean, we can't just willy-nilly do these adjustments, so we need to just, some of it's clerical.
Yeah. What's the pleasure of the board?
What did you, as far as a publisher, was there any discussion besides, well, let's just publish their names?
I want to say we had the vote back,
I'm gonna go back
and
and,
I don't know how, I don't want you to spend,
well, I won't spend a lot of time, but I'll go through index of what we have. I know the time frame of when, what time of year we do it, so I'll just jump back year to year and see if there was a vote. I don't recall it, but.
Okay, could I ask a question about writing off here? So, we could let them sit on the books as unpaid, for some period of time, or we can write them off. What's your pros and cons on that?
Well, I guess the pros are kind of limited, so they distort our financials, they distort our potential cash inflow because they're on there as maybe they would pay, and
You consider them all really uncollectible?
they are all uncollectible. I looked at the days, and so we have some. We don't have any that are less than I think 525 days, but these two at the bottom are they're over 10 years old. And I talked to our collection agency because they know the credit act front to back, and they've said you can't pursue after 6 years is what they've said.
Statute of limitations.
So when Todd got here, he kind of was already unable to do much about those last two accounts.
They've been there.
who's the next one?
Those two, the two immediate bottom ones, you know who they are.
Okay.
The one below that,
Are they
Yeah.
still getting, they're not getting power from us though?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They're living in a house.
the
that somebody else
last
is paying.
two are still, they're still getting power from us. From what we can discern, their debt was set aside, new accounts were made for them, and then for a period of time, they made
Payments.
small
Yeah, I thought there was a payment plan.
payments, but those payments stopped years and years ago.
Well, are they paying for their power now?
They are paying for their power now.
And they have for a year?
And they,
No, they have been for.
yeah, their current accounts are up to date and current. It's just like they needed a set aside, and that's what they got, but it just didn't work
This was
out.
not a commercial account. It's a
It's
personal.
a
It is a
commercial,
commercial account.
yeah.
Commercial, does the commercial exist anymore?
Yep.
Yep.
Barely,
But
but
we have,
yes.
yeah, different types of customers.
What about the business?
Those are businesses that skated either bankruptcy or.
I assume it's a small commercial account.
It is, and for whatever, like I said, that was 10 years ago when it was just kind of, all right, we're gonna set this aside and let you start over again.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, if you set it aside and let them start over again, then you're gonna
Then in essence, they have a new account, and even then.
and they've been
you lose.
paying now.
Yeah, oh yeah, that other account stays fairly current.
Yeah. So one thing I will add, Jay, is that before I got here, the district was very religious about booking a bad debt expense year after year after year, and it grew to quite a number, and we haven't done it since I've been here. So we still have 50,000 set aside.
This will offset some of that.
This is 35,
Yeah.
and our average annual bad debt has been around, I think, $8,000 or $9,000. So we still have one whole year left of this accumulation, even with these write-offs.
Could I ask Duffy, would it be all right if we separate the question here and one of us makes a motion to accept the recommendation of management to write these off? It seems pretty clear that from an accounting perspective and from a collectability perspective, we need to do that. Separate that from whether we're going to take any action to publish the names of the delinquents.
Well,
Is that all right? I'm going to
I
make
think
that
we can
motion.
just go with the write-offs.
I'm gonna-
I
I'm
have
gonna move
just
that
one
we
more
vote.
que- I have,
We have a motion on the floor right now.
We can still discuss it.
Right. But before we do, we need a second.
Yeah.
So I'll second your motion, now we can have discussion.
All right.
You can have discussion now, though.
okay, I'm just wondering, say the ones that's under $1,000 here,
Yeah.
are these people still getting power from us?
No,
Are they paying up?
everybody, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Everybody on this list, save the last two,
Yeah,
are people that are no longer customers.
gone.
And they've
so
been-
this is
one
an accountant's thing, we need to let it go.
Yeah.
Right. The
That's
person
Especially if
that's-
it's over many, many years.
The person that owes $1,013 is deceased.
And then 13,000 was something that they decided years ago.
That's
I
been
mean,
going
this
on
is a
for,
legacy problem started before any of us were on the board, I think. And
but
before,
this number is not, we've been writing off every year, 32, 33, 35. Every year, this is amount we write off.
It was, and then things changed a little bit, and Kathleen was very instrumental in knocking that number down. So the average has been below 10 for the past 4
Well, if
years.
you write off the last 5, they shouldn't come up again, right?
We should all remaining constant maintain between 7,500 and 10,000 of write-offs.
I didn't realize the number had been driven so low, and I'd just like to say that's fantastic. That's a huge improvement, certainly since I've been on the board. And thank you for that. I mean, that's,
So Matt, I'm sorry.
Do we have further discussion on this question?
on the write-off?
Yeah,
Okay.
one question. Are we gonna get hit with another list next year like this?
No, because those last two, those amounts are much higher than we normally experience. So next year, I would say if we wanted to be conservative, 10,000, but because we've started to take cards as payment, debit cards, credit
Zip
cards.
it.
Sorry.
You're stealing his thunder.
I kind of just
Was
the
I the
lightning.
first to sign up?
Just the lightning.
Did you take American Express?
American Express.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to write off our outstanding debt from customers in the total amount of $35,122.47. We have a second. All those in favor? Everyone in favor? Writing off? So moved. Does anyone want to have any further discussion about publishing that?
I'll just clarify that I'll go back and look at the minutes.
Item 8, discussion with the board regarding capital improvement items being considered for 2019.
You will have a 2020 once I have the estimated costs for 2019, but what we are anticipating for this year within the operating budget is to complete the Summer Street project reconstruction. There's about $15,000 of total labor and materials that'll be needed for that project. I had it in my general manager's report, but I'm going to do that now and say that 20 of the 28 utility poles have been changed, made ready, and the transfer will begin. The power line transfer will begin once it warms up out. It's been pretty cold and not a lot of snow, but been really cold, and they've had other projects. So that'll be completed ahead of the town's scheduled needs.
Very good.
Completing the generator room to the tune of about $20,000. When we started this will be the most expensive expenditure for that generator room. It's the metal siding for the side and the roof. Market has been pretty busy, so we have, if you've seen, it's still sitting out there with Advantech on it. We need to get that sided. That will complete the generator room and make everything airtight and ready to run. Replacement of a voltage regulator at the Water Street substation. We are paying very close attention to the Water Street substation. It has been performing actually very well. There is one voltage regulator that failed on us, the one that regulates voltage to Northeast Coating. There have been no issues whatsoever, but we are going to order a replacement for that voltage regulator so that we can properly regulate that circuit. We're going to continue replacing aging transformers and poles. Will be about $20,000 on that. That's something that Kevin and I and crew have had considerable amount of conversations on. There are old poles out there, there are old transformers, and we just want to keep upgrading the system so that it's as efficient, as resilient as we want it to be. I'm waiting on a dollar figure for engaging with a consultant regarding the KLPD future energy needs. That not only relates to the RFP for power, that also kind of relates to the strategic plan that we've been working on. We started a project, I might have been a little over, I have a tendency to bite off more than I can chew. There's a lot going out there in the energy world that we didn't take into consideration moving into this process. There are people out there that are much better versed at this than I am, so I'm discussing with consultants to see if they can assist to map the future of KLPD and what it might look like, as well as redeveloping our RFP for power so that we can go out to bid in early 2020 is when they recommended to me. So that's within the operating budget. And then the capital expenditures outside of the operating budget, which we discussed with you during the budget process to attempt to stay at $250,000 in all of that project work. Matt and I don't want to drain the resources too much, so these items are going to come to the board as we have figures, so that we can determine how much we can get for how much bang for our buck we can get. So SGC is giving me an estimate right now on what it's going to cost for the engineering of the Ross Road reconductoring, as well as to put the bid package together and evaluate the bids so that we know we're getting the best deal and we're getting what we specify. And then the Ross Road reconductoring project will be within, it is I could say with a fairly high level of confidence that within the $250,000 we'll be able to do that project, and that's what I want to take to the board. I'm hoping in February, so that you're aware of what the package cost is going to be, and then hopefully by March or April, as I laid out the months coming, by March or April we'll have those responses, so we'll know what that project costs. depending on the appetite of the board, when we get those total costs, those cost totals, at that time I will come and discuss with the board the engineering of the Mill Street project to do that Hendricks line out there. The project won't be in this year's operating budget, but the engineering may be. So those are the proposals that I have for the anticipated capital expenditures, and I'll look to you for your comments or questions.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. On the poles and transformers, approximately how many poles and two?
For the $20,000, we could do 100.
100 poles with their transformers?
Yeah, but they're not all, it's all, not all contiguous. Some transformers need to be changed, some poles need to be
Right.
changed, some
Right.
ground mount transformers, so that's within the budget. That's really never been reported to the board in the past because it's part of what we do as a district, but in the interest of increased transparency.
And do you buy the poles as
We get a
a
truck.
package, so if you buy,
Yeah, we have to buy a whole truckload, so when we'll run our inventory
Cheaper.
down, we'll get a shipment, we
Same with
vary it
transformers.
30 foot, 35 foot, 40 foot.
Okay.
And
for the consultant, if you go to one, do we have to approve the consultant?
you will approve that, yes. So my
The question I would ask then would be that he has done this before
Oh, yeah.
with other municipalities.
The ones that I'm looking at, they provide energy plans for universities, for small towns. They do,
okay.
they do industrial, like the Hudamaki plant. They do things like that. They do the energy plans for University of Maine, where they're going to try to reduce their use,
And that would
things
be
like
almost the
that.
same power that we
Yeah.
probably.
And so
Mobile.
I will give the board an opportunity to interview these, I'll pass you their credentials, interview these people. I'm just trying to get to a point where we can come out with a package that is affordable to KLPD.
Last, the money for the capital
Yep.
expenses.
Yep.
Just a thought. If we, I don't know, do you have a cost about on Mill Street product?
I don't yet.
Would it be, say, under 100,000 or under
No.
200,000?
No, the Mill Street project's gonna be $250,000 at least.
So 250,000.
Yeah.
And you need another 250,000 to do Ross Road.
Yeah.
Complete all of that. So I just want to put it forward as far as if we say we want to do this, we want to get it done, we went out for a bond issue on this.
I wouldn't recommend that because of our bond. We're trying to improve our bond rating.
Well, where are you gonna get the money?
We have it.
Yeah,
So we have 400,000 in reserve right now that we've never had before, that we're trying to kind of most responsibly use.
that also gets back to the dam.
Yeah, and in response to
And
the
the
question
one.
you had asked this quite some time ago about doing both projects at the same time. I talked to our representatives through Irby and through the vendors and said, KLPD as an entity buys so much wire, transformers,
Right.
buys so much equipment that it would be a wash to do both together. So part of the bid is going to be KLPD gets a better rate than most contractors do. So we will pay for the assets. And what I'm expecting, depending on what Jeff has to say from SGC, I'm anticipating what we are doing is hiring somebody to install the new line, the new
Labor.
conductors. Just the labor to pull it in, to do, the up in the air work. Other than that, KLPD will.
I was just looking at, capital, improvement, the dam issue. What we need to spend on that, if that would be part of the capital.
That will be, that may have to be part of the capital depending on what comes into play in the next month or so. But that is being taken into consideration as well.
Because at that point in time, we're looking at summer or
Yep.
spring. All right, thank you.
How many poles we have up there? In Summer Road?
They put up, there's 28 in the stretch that needs to be replaced, and we've done 22.
Wow.
Very
Good.
They did a really good job in a really short amount of time, so I'm very happy with that.
They only got 6 poles left to do.
Yeah.
Put up.
And then transfer them. But yeah, They got it before the cold snap hit, right between when it snowed in November and the beginning of December, they blasted them out.
Are you aware yet of any other streets that may be done in 2019 that might cause us some expenses?
No. Not if, well,
Will there be any that we're not aware of?
well, no, the biggest issue I heard about today, and it's going to be I think a non-starter. I'll speak in generalizations. It was a discussion about making a neighborhood in Kennebunk underground power versus overhead power. And logistically, in the area that they're looking at, it would be prohibitively expensive. My counteroffer to the town was, you need to get all the easements, do all the excavating, put in all the conduit, and then we could probably talk about it. But there are three-phase power, there are Hendrix line, it logistically is a nightmare. So no, there are none that we're anticipating, and the town is aware that if the proposal that they had were to hold, we would have to delay the project because we just can't do it.
Could I ask that another way?
Hold on.
Just,
Dan, did you have any other questions?
That's it.
All right,
Sorry.
go ahead, Jay.
yeah.
Ask it another way.
Well, do you have a list from the town of what they're planning to do this coming year that you've taken into consideration?
I don't have their complete, but I do have, Chris Osterreiter and I have had the conversation that Summer Street is a special circumstance, and I've asked him to give me a heads up on any roads that, and I can't think of any roads in town that are going to be relocated, and neither could he. So at this time, we're not aware of any
Yeah,
more.
relocating of roads doesn't happen very often.
Not at all.
That's a once.
Why are they relocating?
It was federal
Yes.
DOT money, and the road kind of drifted. So over the years, the right-of-way has shifted this way, shifted that way. When the state came in, they said, you need to survey this, and the road is my understanding, what I've been told, is that the state came in and said, if you want to qualify for federal monies, you need to have your road within the project's limits, which is the recorded right-of-way. So every year they pave a road, and sometimes it gets shifted over a little more, and over years, that can venture outside of the right-of-way. On Summer Street, they have to widen the sidewalks, they have to do a lot of work to meet the federal requirement and the state requirement, and in order to do that, they had to shift that right-of-way back where it belongs so they could get everything they want between the curbs.
I noticed your poles were not that far away from the original one.
Some of them, that's as close as it's gonna be, and then you'll notice a few of them that are probably 2 or 3 feet apart, and there are some coming up. The reason the last 6 to 8 haven't been done is because we need to coordinate with Brex. Brex is doing the work for the sewer district, and flaggers are a hot commodity these days. So we're gonna work within their limits when they bring in flaggers.
And then you look down by the landing store and some people have them right on their front lawn.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's a couple of them that are pretty, that church down there.
I saw some poles sitting in front lawns, I was like, ooh,
Yep,
what am I dealing with that?
so.
Jay, did you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Can you convey to the guys, a thank you
I can.
on their work?
I can.
The only question I had, when we talked about the Summer Street project, did we discuss, were we gonna get reimbursed for the costs that we were doing where it's a federal project?
No, they've spent I think the feds paid 30%, and I raised that, and they said, oh no, that was spent in engineering almost alone, so it doesn't usually make it to the utility level.
Good. All right, moving on. We're down to general manager's report.
General manager report, okay, so thanks Matt, this isn't gonna be as exciting as I thought it was gonna be. So a week ago, rolled out, Matt, was it? Last Thursday? Thursday before last, we rolled out. Duffy might have been the first one to sign up. Mailings went out in the mail over the weekend, end of last week, over the weekend.
I got mine today.
You did get one today?
Yeah, me too.
As of today, drum roll please, Matt. As of today, where's Kathleen's email? 170 sign-ups for online billing, and we've collected $16,116.59 in credit card payments. So people are signing up. Today's call of the day was, what's my PIN? So
lot of calls.
we're getting a lot of activity. I expect that number by the end of the week to potentially double just on the phone traffic we got today.
Which then it also saves us in all that postage.
That is correct.
mailing, and-
That is correct. So in the long run, it'll be, in the short term, we'll see how that's gonna play out for, delinquent accounts. I think that's gonna work out, but in the long run, it's gonna save us money.
And automatic is still in. The automatic payment
Yes, yes, absolutely, you
Still-
can, yep, it's retained. And we're gonna save paper, so,
And you're getting your money faster.
exactly.
But we do have a credit card fee on that.
There is, and that is, Matt and I had that conversation today, because we've been listening to the people calling in. So, once we have people registered for the e-bill, we'll once again remind people that you also have the ability to do an ACH. So if they're comfortable with paying that fee and getting it drawn from their account, and they establish that comfort, we can say we can save you the $3 fee and the percentage by doing, but there's a stigma about giving KLPD your routing number and your account number. Some people are not comfortable with it, other people are. So we'll try to migrate to that in the future.
So you're saying if it's a direct withdrawal from your account, there's no fees associated with it?
None
In
whatsoever.
fact, there's a discount?
No discounts, but there's no
But with
fee.
a credit card, there's a fee?
That's
And
correct.
that covers all of our charges?
Yep.
Credit card charges?
We,
Okay.
we collect the money, they keep the fee. So
I wish
the,
I could do that.
Sounds
yeah,
good.
Is it
So that's
legal to
important
charge
to
a
know.
fee?
it is.
It is.
It is, because
I
we're
went to some
municipality.
of those.
Maine.
For me.
The 5%?
Yep.
Oh, I
You
don't
can't do it
think-
as if you're a gasoline station.
You cannot do it as a gas station.
Got it.
For us, we're in like the 2.3.
Solar array update.
Yeah.
I will give you the update, Jay. We are, and I say Jay because we've had this conversation, I'm not picking on Jay. We've been talking about a ribbon cutting and had a conversation with the developers today, which actually made sense. So I'll give you the update, and then I'll give you the update on the solar, on the ribbon cutting. So they are right now doing capacity testing on the site. They were energized. They expect to be generating within the next couple of days. There were some real hiccups along the way. I'm very happy to be where we are because it's been a long 3 months dealing with NextEra and the solar array. Nothing against NextEra. I'll reserve judgment on that. So the plan is that on the 4th, so the first week of March, weather permitting, they will be back with for a 2-week duration to mobilize to complete the civil scope. So they do final grading around the pads, the sides of the roads, prep and finalize the roadways with dense grade material, and prep the site for seed. March 6th, they're expecting to accept the delivery of the 800 arborvitaes that are required to surround the project. On March 11th, they'll commence the berm layout and the installment of the berm and install trees on the northwest side. The 19th of March, complete installation of trees at the northwest side, installation of roadway completed, all subgrade complete, berm complete, prep for seeding. March 20th, they'll start the tree installation on the southeast side and place the boulders. March 22nd, ready for hydroseed. March 25th, hydroseed and stabilize site. April 2nd, complete tree installation and mulch is needed. And April 3rd, they'll demobilize. So they're...
How are they doing the planting and the seeding in the winter?
They're not. They're waiting till March. This is in March. So
March is still winter.
I know it'll probably be April, but in their defense, they have to build a berm, so most of the trees aren't being built, buried in the ground or planted in the ground. So the fill is on site. They won't be digging into solid permafrost. This is. It can move 2 weeks either way depending on what winter does. There's a good chance that the dates I told you were going to be March are going to be April now, but that's their timeline.
But then the hydro seeding and getting it washed out with all the spring thaw.
Yeah, Mother Nature needs to cooperate. But as of right now, the panels are all in, they're all wired together. The fences are surrounding the entire project and everything's ready to go.
Transformers.
Transformers are in, everything. It can generate power.
Power turn-on date.
They're looking
And
at
their
Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
rectifiers.
Yep.
Not rectifier, I guess it would be changing from DC to electric.
Yep, inverters.
Converters.
Yep. So everything's done and ready to go. I've been harping on them about a ribbon cutting. I thought it was just because they were coming from New York and Florida, they want to come to Maine in nice weather. But it really does make sense that we don't want to do a ribbon cutting with a mud pit that's got some solar panels in it. So
One had the berms up and the ferns in.
yeah. So
we're looking at April.
probably March, April, probably April or May, depending on the weather. We'll do a night, once the seeding is taken,
April's
and the
good.
trees are planted, that's when we'll do an official ribbon cutting. There will be an article coming out.
Are you gonna do a
next month.
flyover?
I've been trying to find a drone to do it, and I saw Blake Baldwin today. He doesn't have a drone anymore. He said he's committed suicide, so.
Oh, there must be plenty of people.
Operator air.
We, sorry, Blake. So, I would say, once again, that it would make more sense when it's grassed and then we'll get some aerial shots of it, one way or the other. I know some people that fly out of the Biddeford airport, they can take some aerial pictures, and then there's, Bill Lord here in Kennebunk in the past has done drone work for the district, so.
And I assume where the trees were gonna go and the boulder removed is where the stoppage, work stoppage.
Yes, yeah, well,
Okay.
the final agreement with the site plan review board was that the entirety of the northwest side, which abuts, northwest side abuts Littlefield Drive, that entirety of that line of abutment is going to be 30 feet from the panel, 15 feet from the fence is gonna be a row of arborvitaes that'll be planted, I believe 6 feet when they're planted, and then they'll grow to 12. And then the entire southeast portion, which is abutting Marbury Estates, which is, if you're looking at the substation on the right-hand side, that whole perimeter will also be arborvitaes. And then the concern was ATVs and dirt bikes and things like that, so there'll be boulders that'll be strategically placed to keep vehicles from out of there.
So the turn-on date is next week, you're saying?
Turn-on day should be next week.
Supplying us with electricity.
They will be supplying us with electricity. We'll have a link to the generation site, and I'm gotta make sure what kind of clearances I need, but I should be able to get the board to have access to that to look at what's being generated.
Will you be up there when they close the breaker? Well,
I was up there when they closed the breaker the first time,
test?
and
Did we have to pay them?
for an official ceremony, we'll also throw the breaker, or something that looks like a fuse.
Right. All right.
A really big switch.
Yes, exactly.
Tree trimming.
Tree trimming, they will begin beginning of next month. So they completed the first year, did a wonderful job. We had some back and forth about what should be done next. So beginning in February, they're now out there permissioning. We'll do 29 miles of overhead conductor. They're going to, includes but not limited to, meaning all the side taps, everything off these roads. They're gonna do Alewife Road, Cole Road, Middle Road, and all of the KLPD service territory in Lyman. That's pretty grown in, so that's gonna be this year's project. And I would anticipate, now that we've worked the bugs out, they may be completed that portion of the project in 9 months. So it's much better. If you go out to West Wells Branch, I recommend it's night and day.
Is this where Bob wanted you to, Bob Evans, the location going to next? I know he's not here, but
Yeah.
I know this is one of his projects.
Yeah, he's pretty happy with what they've gotten done now, and I think he'll be happy with what they'll do next year. It's much smoother sailing now.
Thank you.
And I started with e-building and CC, so we're done.
You cover everything on your list,
Yeah.
unless you have something else.
I do not.
Okay. Public comment. Hello, how are you?
Albert Culp. I had a conversation today with Bob Evans
Okay, thank you.
of Maine Industrial Repair. They've been up to their necks in work. He will put a report together next week, get it to us, but he'd like to come for an hour the third week of February with his specialist, who will determine whether or not you can patch or need to rewind the stator.
Thank you. That refers to what Scott said, patching is cutting the sections out.
Yeah.
Third week in
Thank you,
February?
Albert.
Can't get sooner?
No, because the specialist
Yeah.
is working in Topsom. I don't know what he's doing.
And
We'll have, yes, go ahead.
can I just mention something? The Bob Evans, these guys, this is what they did. They overhaul generators for hydros
Right. Yep.
around the country,
Yep.
right
I
here.
was very impressed with him. He's hard to get a hold of, and his voice mailbox is full.
And I've asked Peter Ashley to please document the site visit, because he was there. I think it'd be nice to put it in the records to refer to Bob Evans visiting for the first time with
No.
Scott and someone else.
Yeah, Scott and I and Wayne and Peter were there.
Okay.
Anything else, Albert?
Yeah, one other question. We had a budget in the Wright Pierce report in 2016 for $125,000 for dam work. Does that fit in with the safety requirements for the dams? Did we spend any money in 2016 on the dams?
I can't tell you right now off the top of my head what we spent, but I'm certain money was spent on the dams in 2016.
Well, if it was surveying, it's one thing, but maintenance
No,
was budgeted at
We haven't fixed the
$125,000.
spalling yet, but
That was in the Wright Pierce report?
Yeah, and then there was another $65,000 in 2018 for the dams, dam maintenance.
Okay,
If you look into both
I will
of those.
definitely, 2016.
It would be nice to have our dams generating electricity if they haven't been doing so for the last 6 months.
any other public comment?
No.
All set? All right, thank you. Todd provided us with a calendar outline for direction for upcoming meetings on things to be discussed and worked on. This was also in the Dropbox. Do you guys have a chance? Do you have anything? I see Jay's got a list over here started. Scott, do you have anything that you would like to ask about this?
For recommendation for items, just that we have reports ready for the dam generations. Either the initial one of 150,000. Have that available for us. Anything from Robert Evans and any other ones. I know you're out reaching out for other people. If we could have those reports available, this next one, I think it might help us all in the long run.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks. Dan?
What I think we should have are proposals.
Well, we're looking for discussion items for,
You know, I'd like to talk about is the possibility of having our own generation system. And,
we've had
but
preliminary discussions, but nothing in depth.
Not since Dan's been here. We haven't had any solid
I
proposals.
think that's a good idea.
Oh,
I heard
is
you
this?
brought it up last meeting. I really went home and I thought about it. I said it's really a great thing.
Yeah.
And if we could figure out maybe some ideas, what it costs to run it, and how much we actually get.
We did look at having wind power generation here in town, and we did a couple of Bloom test sites, and we found that we really don't generate enough wind here to sustain wind power. But
What gas would work.
generation of gas, if we could get tied into the gas line, that would be the,
Since I've been here, I've had 3 different developers that I've spoken to about combined cycle gas generators or even single cycle gas generators, and the problem is getting a commitment to the gas needed. So they've all kind of fallen off when they can't get the guarantee in the wintertime. They can't get the guarantee to have that generating. So I'd be more than happy to bring, they come through the door, not all the time, but they come across, and when it gets to the point where you get put the how many million BTUs you need and the cost associated, they can't generate enough, or they can't size a generator that'll meet our entire need. So the cost of a standby power agreement usually offsets even though natural gas doesn't fluctuate that much, just the fact that there needs to be a guarantee we can get it, and the companies that have come to me have had problems being able to secure rights to that much gas.
Well, if, the gas line coming down to tie into that, don't we have to put some kind of regulating station
There
in?
needs to be a decompression station to do that.
Decompression.
And even units,
And would there be enough gas coming down the line?
that's the problem. In the wintertime, gas for heating gets priority, is what I've been told by these developers. And so if we hit an Arctic chill and get a cold snap, they can tell us, even though we've committed to X amount of million BTUs, they can tell us we're curtailing your delivery of gas because we need it elsewhere.
But every time I've talked about gas and generation of gas generators, only want these things running at peak times. So
Right.
they're not running all the time.
Right.
It's only peak time, so.
So that's
say
a discussion
from
item
5 o'clock,
that, if you can just put it.
That
on
would be
the
a
list.
good discussion if we could get some information on it.
I would second that need for discussion about local generation of all kinds and what our options might be
Yeah,
and
sure.
how we could set a goal.
We've kind of
Yeah.
kicked this can around quite a bit when we're talking about generation, we're talking about storage, we're talking,
I remember several discussions about are we in the generation business?
you're right.
And, well, with the, do they get a license from the federal government for the gas turbine?
I don't know. That's,
Jay?
I have several items. I don't want to discuss them now. I just want to make sure that we do at some point. Question, do we have our 2019 goals approved by the board yet?
not yet.
Okay, so I'd like to discuss that.
Yep, that'll be
I'd
February.
like to discuss, I'm not suggesting these all happen to happen immediately, I'm just looking at the year's calendar. So another one is kind of a program and some goals around public relations and communication. What do we want to do there regarding press releases, newsletter, online? What do we want to do to tell the story about our agency? I'd like to understand better what we can do for local renewable generation in particular, including things like distributed solar or distributed storage that we might have a way to either promote or even invest in for a return for us. Some areas have rooftop solar that's actually capitalized by the utility or by a private company, and there's all kinds of possibilities there. I don't know enough about it, but I think it could be something that could work for us. Public policy discussion. This year there's going to be a whole lot of new bills. We know there's a bunch of them that have placeholders. I think we probably want to stay on top of it and see if any of them
Floodgates are open.
warrant our action or discussion. I don't know if they do for us, but we should talk about it. I've been asked by a couple of people about our electric car charging infrastructure, and are we going to upgrade it? Are we going to expand it? What's our plan with it and why? So I'd like to talk about that. There could be, as the Burlington Electric Power Company has done, they figured out a way to expand their infrastructure and I think make some money doing it with certain kinds of incentives. I'm not proposing we do it, I just would like to discuss it. And maybe this consultant you're gonna presumably work with on our energy procurement will have some thoughts about where we're going, where this is going in the next 10 years. Anyway, I've been asked, so I'd like to understand where we are, because ours are really slow. And then I'm not clear just from the schedule you presented, when we're actually gonna be talking about the options that we might have in our procurement process for energy supply. But I hope that we would have some extensive discussion about that as a board, including things like, can we get time of use power, storage, would there be any benefit to us in reducing peak load, and again, distributed power. So that's my list.
You had mentioned the beginning of 2020 for,
Yes, speaking of the consultants, they said you're way ahead of the game right now. So I believe that first quarter of 2020 is the time to do the RFP so that we
You need
are.
to put it out.
To put it out, yeah,
Yeah.
launch the RFP
Yeah.
beginning of first quarter of 2020 to give people time to respond and be able to look at the responses to those. Our car charging infrastructure might not be the greatest, but we got a lot of really good car charging infrastructure in the area. I know I'm not supposed to attack these right now.
Yeah, and really,
I
I'm
can
not
give you the backstory on Burlington.
expressing an opinion
Yep.
either. I'm just thinking we should talk about it.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
you have the list and you just need to incorporate that
Yep.
list into,
Will do,
can you update that list and send it out to us?
definitely. Yep,
And this calendar structure where you wanna,
definitely. I can allocate those appropriately.
so that it doesn't fall off and disappear.
And look, if you look at it and you don't think it warrants discussion, bring it back to the board and say so. I'm just suggesting them,
I won't tell you you're crazy on screen.
not on the screen.
Just trying to get I think we're trying to get a bigger handle of
Yeah.
what's our big picture. And
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get
Yeah, I
at.
think the strat plan was mentioned before it. and
It was.
maybe- Yeah. So I'm not quite sure where that process is gonna go, but.
That was
probably-
during the capital expenditures discussion about consultants that are going to come in
Right.
and assist us, so,
Right.
yes,
But
that will
having
be
a sort of
factored in as
timeline
well.
for
Yeah.
that.
I need to know their timeline, and then we'll have
Yeah.
a better timeline.
Sounds great. Thank you for humoring me.
these are things that aren't on our agenda, but in your packet, we received an email from Elaine.
I was asked to read it out loud.
Okay.
Do you mind? That was I was gonna go to next. So Elaine Meyer is our meter technician. You may know her as the person who reads your meters and troubleshoots problems. She sent an email to me, asked me to read it aloud. Dear Todd and trustees, I wanted to write and thank you for the gift of our Christmas party this year. As always, it was a great time. The venue at the bowling alley was a bit unconventional, but I thought it was a blast and the food was excellent. Last year I was unable to attend because of health reasons and was very sad that I couldn't join in on the fun. So this year I just doubled down and had twice as much fun, although my bowling skills leave a lot to be desired. Fortunately, I've always been able to laugh at myself, which I did Friday night. I'm not sure my young co-workers realize how lucky we all are to have such a great work environment. We all complain about petty things throughout the year, but working for KLPD has been one of the best work experiences of my life. Self-employment leaves a lot to be desired, although there are benefits. But when I came to work here almost 15 years ago, I had never had a sick day, vacation day, holiday, or Christmas party from any of my previous places of employment. So my point I am making is I appreciate the job and all the benefits you folks have provided to us as employees. A big thank you also for the day before Christmas off. This is an extra bonus I'm happy to have. You as trustees have taken on a responsibility that has not been pleasant, I am sure, over the past 3 to 4 years. I commend you on the job you are doing and look forward to a great 2019. Sincerely, Elaine, who we affectionately call Weeze. That's her brother.
Very
That's
nice.
her brother's nickname for her.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I agree with the Christmas party. I laughed at myself too.
How many gutter balls? Bing.
Yeah, right.
Duffy laughed at me.
Which gutter?
Right. And then everyone should have received an email from me. It's that time of year where we need to complete the GM's performance. And so I sent you a blank evaluation form as well as the evaluation that was completed on him from last year. So we need to just work out the timeline on that. If you can take the time to fill out your comments and then get those back to me, we can come back and at our meeting in February have an executive session where we can discuss that as a whole, and then from there we'll decide if we need to take any further steps or we are fine with the final document, and then we'll present it to the general manager.
Well, I suggest that probably next time we're gonna go in executive session anyways before, but to do this after the meeting and have another executive session just for this.
Yes, yeah, no, this is a separate executive session.
There'd be two, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be at the personnel's always done.
I propose that.
Yes, yeah, it won't be, if we have to have another executive session with our attorney, that would be a separate executive session, and we'll do this at the end of the night.
Make them separate.
Yeah.
Did you say make him suffer?
No, take
Yeah, I
them
said make them
Oh,
separate.
take him suffer. I heard make him suffer.
Make him suffer.
Right now, our next meeting is scheduled for February 26th. Is everyone still good with that? And then we also have March 26th.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's fine with me, so.
One more signature.
Can I ask a question
Sure,
on the next
sure.
agenda items? Jay, can you explain the distributed solar? Is that the comment that I made about rooftop units that I see in Germany all over the
I
place?
think it may relate to your comment. I don't, we just had a brief exchange in the hallway, but, yeah, I think there's a potential that we could use rooftops in town in a way that's both good for the district, good for the ratepayers, and pushes our renewable energy portfolio to a higher
I'd love to have that as
percentage.
a separate issue on the agenda, that'd be great.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Okay, good.
Don't know where it's gonna land in the
Well,
calendar, but,
if it
Sometime
lands on
this
my
year.
roof as a starter, that's fine.
all right, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you all, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Jeff.